Shortly after the massive hit that was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990, it made too much sense to make a sequel. But out of fear that turtle fever would die down faster than they could put out another movie, they rushed TMNT 2 into production. They gave us this. A bigger mess than even Greg and Roger could clean up. That's not to say it's a bad mess, but a mess nonetheless. This is the movie I saw the most out of the original trilogy. I'd bought it on my trusty old Kindle Fire and watched it more times than I could count. The movies I had downloaded on it were this and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Wow, was I eating good. This seemed to be the movie that everyone is drawn to when you're young. But why is that? Is it because of the increase in jokes? The lighter tone? The vanilla ice? Well, whatever reason you want to pick, mission accomplished for the producers. The first movie was apparently too dark, so much so that they stripped away the turtles' weapons and instead gave them... Does this ruin the movie? Well, we'll get there. The change in tone is immediate. It doesn't take long to notice that the target audience has changed. It hits you like a freight train. The turtles' voice acting for sure is one of the biggest differences. Raph was low-key intimidating in the first movie.
I lost the side!
Then it is gone.
But I can get it back, I can get it back!
And this time he's just kind of a New Yorker with an attitude.
With a half gainer right into the back of a garbage truck! Ah!
All the fights are just goofy, they crack constant jokes, they use silly weapons, and nobody gets hurt. It just never feels like the turtles are going to lose. You can certainly say the stakes have never been lower. I just think the turtles without their weapons are like a Jedi losing their lightsaber, or Rocky without his belt. There was no story reason for the change, and there was nothing in the first movie that should have caused a reaction to make it less violent. I'm actually a believer that if they planned to do a third movie the whole time and made it a trilogy, the second movie should have been the darkest for our characters. If we're comparing intros from the first and second movie, this intro blows the first movie out of the water. I just feel like a New Yorker. Something that really bugs me about this movie is that Raphael has no growth from the first movie. Tell me if I'm taking this too seriously, but I feel like his character arc in the first one was learning to lean on his brothers. Raph is just an idiot in this one sometimes. In the first movie, he acted on his emotions, regardless of whether it was smart or not. This time, he just does stuff that's straight up dumb. I don't get it. Like, I would spike my bag too, Leo. Last time Raph thought it made more sense to do something else, this is how he ended up. Did he learn nothing from his past endeavors? Like, are you kidding me?
It's Raph!
Oh, would you look at that? Boo! Shredder coming back, boo! That's lame! He should have stayed dead after getting his entire life crushed. The Foot coming back makes no sense either, especially with how many of them there are. I feel like all of them basically got arrested in the first one, and if they didn't get arrested, their entire base got disclosed.
Everyone else must have been picked up.
Well, clearly that's not the case, because look at them all. According to Kino, the Foot are looking for martial arts talent, but my thing is, wouldn't the police be after them? A rumor of the Foot still being active would sound alarms, no? Also on that same note, the Turtles are a lot less careful about showing themselves in public. I mean, Raph is literally hiding behind this car in broad daylight. I think that's more of a result of the writers putting less focus on that aspect because the movie isn't taking itself as seriously. Generally speaking, the fight scenes are actually choreographed pretty well between the Turtles and whoever they're fighting. My problem is how much everyone's just standing around. In almost every fight, there's people standing there watching instead of actually doing anything, and it takes me out of it sometimes. The lab scene's probably the worst example. They already took a pretty big hit after the first movie, so it would make sense for them to have fewer people this time. It would also make the fights feel a lot more believable. Oh look, Toka and Razor are here. I think they're cool enough. I go back and forth on whether they should have been able to speak or not because sometimes they just feel brain dead. I think they maybe could have been a little bit stronger too. I don't have a ton of emotional connection to the original Bebop and Rocksteady from the cartoon, so I don't care too much about seeing them or having Toka and Razor act like them, but all I know is it's a good thing the Turtles learned their lesson against Shredder in the first movie, and they won't fight them one at a time. No, I'm done. Why are they fighting them one at a time? I'm not breaking any new ground here, but this script needed another run or two through the old idea machine. There's a lot to be desired with this plotline about the Turtles' background. I guess the final result is that it's all a big accident?
There's just got to be more to it.
Perhaps the search for a beginning rarely has so easy an end.
Also, who's this guy? I don't really think he has much value to the story. He's just there to push the Ooze storyline over the finish line because it's underdeveloped. I think there's a version of the professor that could have been interesting if he explained what TGRI's plans were for the Ooze and how they intended to use it. He has no real connection to the Turtles, aside from maybe Donatello, but like, I guess that's because they're both nerds. He mostly just explains the science, if that's what you want to call what's happening here, behind the Ooze. As a kid, I didn't really think the Ooze was anything besides the green stuff that made the Turtles grow big. Now, as an adult and paying more attention, it's still just the green stuff that makes them grow big. I think Splinter was a good character in the first movie. Even though he didn't do that much, his role felt necessary to Danny and the Turtles' arc. This time, he seems to just be there to give background lore and spit some knowledge every now and then. I like the scene where he shoots the arrow because he's actually doing something, but I wish he did more of this stuff.
Cowabunga.
The message they're trying to give us is pretty surface level too. You're worth more than your background and you can overcome whatever your past is. It certainly isn't the first movie to deliver that message, and I'm sure it won't be the last. My problem is that the movie doesn't spend much time exploring this idea. It's basically just one moment in the movie before it moves on. Well, you have to progress the plot somehow, right?
Big mistake.
The Ooze is such a fundamental part of TMNT lore that it felt like it was either that or Krang in terms of potential storylines. Maybe you could throw Baxter Stockman in that bucket too, but either way, the story had to go somewhere. I think people are also naturally invested in the origin of things. Like, Halloween didn't need a sequel. Well, here comes Halloween 2 to tell you that they're siblings.
That girl, that Strode girl, that's Michael Myers' sister.
You see this a lot with sequels, so I don't think trying to expand the turtle mythology was necessarily a bad idea. The problem is that not much actually changes. They're still Splinter's sons, and his role as their father doesn't really change. Nothing they learn causes them to drift apart or have a stronger connection, and they don't really act any differently after finding out about their origins. There isn't some major revelation about their past that changes how they see themselves. You could argue that their relationship with humans changes, especially when they go to the party with everyone at the end, but even that isn't really explored. It had so much potential and died before it even got off the ground. This movie's actually really funny at times.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah, a little too easy. Yeah, a little too rough. You guys, knock it off.
Brother.
Keep your eyes peeled.
But I mean, the hit rate of the humor might be worse than Ben Simmons' 3-point percentage. It's like a Marvel movie in the sense that they throw like 9 jokes at the wall and maybe every 3 land. Alright, well, we made it to the end of the movie. Let's see what's going on here. Why do they actually stop the fight to eat the donuts? And how is the club next to the massive fight? Wait, what about all the people in the club? Won't they call the police? Oh, no, they are calling, but wait, never mind. And why is the club right next to a dock? Oh, and now Vanilla Ice is here, but where did all the foot soldiers go? You know what? I give up. And I think that's the best way to describe TMNT 2. It's just a never-ending party. At some point, you need to just give up and have fun with it. I can sit here and pick apart the plot, the characters, the fights, the ooze, the foot, and basically everything else this movie tries to do, but then Vanilla Ice starts playing, the turtles start dancing, and I don't know. Maybe that's why I still love this movie.